Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of our commentary series where we unpack really fascinating content from around the web.
Yeah, some really cool stuff.
Today, we are going to be looking at the work of Ajmal from his website, theborderofremind.com.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that website.
Now, Ajmal, for those of you who are familiar with his work, he doesn't just write. He creates art, he shares visuals, he really invites you into his world.
I really like his art, it's very cool.
And we're focusing today on a piece called, just the title alone got me, Limitlessness.
That's a powerful word, isn't it? I think it's something we all kind of crave.
Absolutely.
That sense of possibility, breaking free from the things that hold us back.
Yeah, for sure.
And what I find interesting is how Ajmal links this idea of limitlessness to the very human experience of fear.
Right, because he's not saying be fearless.
Right.
Which I gotta say is kind of a relief to me,
Yeah.
That whole crush your fear message gets a little tiring after a while.
Oh, I totally agree. It's really refreshing. Ajmal just acknowledges that, fear is part of life.
Yeah.
But he challenges you to ask, what if fear isn't the stop sign, but just a yield?
Oh, I like that.
So he's saying, let's figure out how to navigate it, not pretend it doesn't exist.
Okay, so you're driving along this road of life. Fear pops up.
Right.
What does he suggest we do? Because he gets really concrete about how this plays out, like in our everyday lives.
He does, and this is where I think his background as an artist really comes through, because he uses these really vivid examples,
Give us an example.
Putting off a creative project because you're afraid of judgment.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe not speaking up in a meeting because of imposter syndrome.
Right.
He's saying these are like everyday ways we limit ourselves.
Yeah, and it's those small choices, right?
Yeah.
It's not always this huge paralyzing fear, but it's the subtle ways that we kind of shrink back.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's where I think Ajmal takes it a step further.
Oh, yeah?
He doesn't just tell you to power through the fear.
Right.
He says, look for small daily acts of courage.
Okay.
Things that just kind of nudge you outside your comfort zone.
So give us an example.
Yeah.
What kind of small act are we talking about?
Well, he mentions having that tough conversation you've been avoiding.
Oh, yeah.
Or for those of us who create, sharing your work,
Right.
even if it feels vulnerable.
It can be scary.
Yeah, and this one really resonated with me. Planning a trip,
Wow, interesting.
just getting out of your routine. And he argues that these seemingly simple things build a sort of courage muscle.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Because if you never exercise a muscle, it gets weak.
Right. Exactly.
So he's saying, flex that courage muscle consistently,
Yeah.
and suddenly bigger challenges don't seem so daunting.
That's exactly it.
Never.
And this is where I think we start to see how these small acts connect to the bigger idea of limitlessness.
Okay.
By building that courage, you're opening yourself up to taking bolder leaps.
Right.
Pursuing those things that maybe felt impossible before.
I'm trying to remember, I think there's a quote, and I might be paraphrasing this, but something about if you want to do something truly great, you have to be willing to risk looking like a fool.
Oh, yeah, that's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the heart of what I think Ajmal is trying to convey.
Yeah.
It's about letting go of that need for perfection, for control.
Right.
And embracing the possibility of failure as part of the journey.
So are we saying that, success is guaranteed if you just embrace being audacious?
Not necessarily, but Ajmal does quote the saying, fortune persistently favors the audacious.
Yeah.
And I think what's important here is that word, persistently.
Okay.
It suggests that it's about a way of approaching life.
Right.
A willingness to keep taking those leaps even when things don't go as planned.
So it's more about the journey, the evolution that you go through by taking those risks than just hitting some specific outcome.
I think so, yeah. He's not advocating for reckless abandon.
Right.
But a calculated, a thoughtful approach to pushing your boundaries.
Okay.
But he also emphasizes that staying within our comfort zones, while seemingly safe, actually robs us of growth and vibrancy.
Oh, that's so interesting. It's like saying, sure, you can play it safe,
Right.
maybe avoid some discomfort, but you're also missing out on the richness of truly experiencing life.
Exactly. And he uses this
I
phrase,
really love his language.
a domesticated, pale version of living.
Oh, wow.
Which really paints this stark picture.
Right.
He's contrasting that with a life that's full of color, passion, even a bit of wildness.
And I think that's where his visual art connects so beautifully to these ideas.
Yeah.
There's this intensity, a rawness to his work that really embodies this spirit of limitlessness.
You should definitely check it out, his work on theboarderoffrommind.com.
Absolutely. We'll make sure to include a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about courage, but I think it's important to say Ajmal also talks about personal integrity. He seems to suggest that living a life of integrity is a crucial part of this journey toward limitlessness.
He does.
And he defines integrity in a really interesting way, not just as like being honest, but about aligning your actions with your values, even when it's tough.
Right.
It's about showing up authentically in the world, which takes courage in itself.
Absolutely, it does. It's like he's saying you can't truly embrace limitlessness if you're constantly hiding parts of yourself,
right?
Trying to fit into a mold that doesn't feel right.
Exactly.
It takes up so much energy.
Yeah.
Energy that could be directed toward, growth and creation.
This is making me think about all the times where I've held myself back from doing something I really wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe because of what other people would think.
Right.
It's like we impose these limitations on ourselves before the world even has a chance to.
And that's such a subtle form of fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like a monster under the bed. It's this insidious voice that just whispers you're not good enough, you'll be judged, don't even try.
And Ajmal seems to be saying turn up the volume on your own inner voice.
Yeah.
The one that believes in you, the one that wants to create, to explore, to break free.
Yeah.
He doesn't sugarcoat it though.
Yeah.
He's very clear that this path isn't always easy.
He is, yeah.
He talks about discomfort being a necessary part of growth.
Right.
And I think that's such an important message. We're so conditioned to avoid discomfort at all costs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But he reframes it as a sign that you're pushing your boundaries, that you're evolving.
Yeah.
So it's not about becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable.
More like learning to recognize discomfort as a signal, not a threat.
Oh.
It's saying, okay, I'm feeling this because I'm stepping into new territory.
Right.
And that's a good thing.
It's like that feeling you get when you're learning a new skill.
Yeah.
Like playing an instrument.
Yeah.
It's frustrating at first.
Right.
But that frustration is a sign that you're progressing.
Exactly. And he doesn't just leave you with this abstract idea.
Okay.
He offers some really tangible actions you can take to start cultivating this courage muscle today.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What's one thing our listeners can take away from this conversation and put into practice?
Well, he mentions that fear can manifest as excessive caution.
Okay.
So think about something you've been hesitant to do, maybe sharing a creative project or expressing a differing opinion.
Yeah.
And challenge yourself to do it anyway.
Just do it.
Yeah, just that one small act can be a powerful step toward embracing a more limitless life.
That's a great actionable takeaway. And for everyone listening, we'd love to hear about your experience.
Yeah.
Head over to our website and share your thoughts.
And don't forget, you can explore more of Ajmal's work on his website.
Absolutely.
theboarderoffommind.com. It's a treasure trove of insightful writing.
Beautiful artwork.
Stunning visuals.
And for those of you who appreciate thought-provoking discussions like this one, stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon with another episode in our commentary series, exploring more fascinating content from around the web.
It's interesting how he, connects this idea of small acts of courage to the concept of fortune favoring the audacious.
Yeah.
It's like those small steps create a foundation for, bigger, bolder moves.
I gotta say, that phrase really stuck with me too. At first I was kind of like, isn't that a little fortune cookie-ish?
Right.
But the more I think about it, the more I see how it ties into everything we've been talking about. It's not just about luck, is it?
No, not at all. It's about being willing to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
To take those chances that other people might shy away from.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that discomfort and uncertainty are often like the precursors to breakthroughs.
And it's not just about achieving some external measure of success, right?
Right.
It's about the person you become in the process of pursuing these audacious goals.
Exactly.
Right.
And he talks about how staying within our comfort zones, while seemingly safe, actually robs us of opportunities for growth and aliveness.
Yeah.
It's in those moments of discomfort that we truly discover our potential.
He paints this picture of, and this is his language, a domesticated, pale version of living if we choose to avoid discomfort.
Right.
That imagery really hit home for me.
Yeah.
It's like choosing a black and white existence over a life that's full of, color and vibrancy.
And I think that's where, Ajmal's art comes in.
Right.
It's not just an add-on to his writing. It's
Right.
an embodiment of this philosophy.
Yeah.
His work is full of, bold colors, unconventional perspectives.
Right.
It challenges you to see the world differently.
We talk a lot on the show about like stepping outside your comfort zone.
Right.
But it's easy to get caught up in thinking that means like some grand life-altering change, right?
Yeah.
But what I appreciate about Ajmal's approach is that it's about the everyday, the seemingly mundane.
Yeah, he emphasizes that even seemingly small actions can be courageous. Like having that difficult conversation or expressing your true feelings or even just like trying something new.
It's like he's saying, look for those moments where you feel that little twinge of fear,
Right.
that hesitation,
Yeah.
and lean into it. Don't let it dictate your choices.
He talks about like desensitizing yourself to the fear response,
Yeah.
to the voice that tells you to play it safe. It's not about becoming fearless.
Oh.
It's about recognizing that fear is often a signpost, pointing you toward the things that matter most.
And the more you lean into those moments, the less power that fear holds over you, right?
Exactly. It's like building a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. And the more you choose courage, the more natural it becomes.
This whole conversation is making me think about how often we, let fear make decisions for us.
Right.
We avoid opportunities.
Yeah.
We stay silent when we should speak up.
Right.
We settle for, less than we deserve.
He even challenges us to question the societal narratives around comfort and security.
Oh, interesting.
Are we truly living if we're constantly seeking to avoid risk and discomfort?
He talks about unanticipated opportunities that arise when we step outside of those self-imposed limitations.
Right. I think what he's getting at is that when we hold on to a rigid sense of control,
Yeah.
we actually close ourselves off to the unexpected, the serendipitous moments that life has to offer.
He encourages us to approach life with a sense of curiosity,
Yeah.
to see the unknown, not as a threat, but as an invitation to, explore, to discover, to evolve.
He uses this beautiful phrase, showing up more richly for all of life's invitations.
Oh,
It's about engaging fully with the world, embracing the, messy, unpredictable beauty of it all.
This brings us back to the idea of limitlessness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about achieving some, specific outcome.
Right.
It's about cultivating a mindset that embraces possibility,
Right.
that sees setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities for growth.
And it's about recognizing that we are all capable of so much more than we often give ourselves credit for.
I think that's one of the most inspiring aspects of, Ajmal's work.
Yeah.
He's not just offering some theoretical framework.
Right.
He's sharing his own journey,
Yeah.
his own struggles and triumphs in a way that feels incredibly relatable and empowering.
He invites us to join him on this journey of self-discovery, this exploration of what it truly means to live a life without limits.
And he provides us with some really practical tools and strategies to, get started, right?
Yeah, he encourages us to identify those areas where fear might be holding us back.
Right.
And to start taking those courageous steps, no matter how small they may seem.
This reminds me of something he says in the post, and I'm totally paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
But it's about the difference between, feeling fear and letting fear control you.
He uses the analogy of fear being like a wave.
Oh, okay.
You can't stop the wave from coming,
Right.
but you can learn to surf it. You
Yeah.
can learn to ride those waves of fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
To navigate them with, skill and grace.
And the more you do that, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. Right.
It's about shifting your perspective from fear to curiosity.
Okay.
Instead of asking, what if I fail?
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself, what if I succeed? What if this opens up a whole new world of possibilities?
I think a lot of us get stuck in this cycle of overthinking,
Right.
overanalyzing,
Yeah.
which ultimately just leads to inaction.
Yeah.
And Ajmal seems to be saying, stop thinking about it and just do it.
He emphasizes the importance of, taking action,
Yeah.
of putting those courageous thoughts into practice.
Yeah.
He reminds us that courage is not a passive quality, it's a verb.
Right.
It requires action, movement, a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones.
And it's not about waiting for the perfect moment
Right.
or for all the stars to align. It's about choosing to act now, even if it feels messy, even if it feels uncertain.
He talks about how perfectionism can be a form of procrastination.
Oh, Oh, interesting.
A way of delaying the inevitable discomfort of putting ourselves out there.
He encourages us to embrace imperfection.
Yeah.
To see the beauty in the raw, the unfinished, the authentic.
And to remember that the journey is just as important as the destination. I love how he frames it as like a grand experiment.
Right.
It's about approaching life with a sense of, playfulness.
Yeah.
A willingness to try new things, to make mistakes, to learn from those experiences.
He reminds us that we are all works in progress and that there is no such thing as a finished product.
He encourages us to embrace the process of becoming, to see ourselves as like ever-evolving beings with, limitless potential.
He also talks about the importance of embracing vulnerability,
Oh, okay.
of letting go of the need to present like a perfect facade to the world.
He seems to suggest that, true connection, true authenticity can only happen when we allow ourselves to be seen, flaws and all, right?
He reminds us that we are all perfectly imperfect, and that our imperfections are often what make us, unique and beautiful.
This is making me think about how often we try to hide our vulnerabilities.
Right.
To present this, polished version of ourselves to the world.
Yeah.
But what if those very vulnerabilities are what make us relatable? What allow us to connect with others on a deeper level?
He talks about how vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it's a sign of strength.
Why?
It takes courage to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to show up authentically in a world that often values perfection over imperfection.
And it's in those moments of vulnerability that we create space for genuine connection,
Yeah.
empathy, for shared humanity.
He reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles.
Right.
That everyone experiences, fear, doubt, and uncertainty at times.
He encourages us to reach out to others, to share our stories, to build, a community of support and encouragement.
He also talks about the importance of celebrating our wins, no matter how small they may seem.
It's easy to get caught up in focusing on what we haven't achieved, what we still need to do, right?
Right, but he reminds us to take the time to acknowledge our progress, to celebrate our accomplishments, and to appreciate how far we've come.
To cultivate a sense of gratitude for the journey, for the lessons learned, for the growth we've experienced.
He reminds us that we're all on a unique path.
Yeah.
And that comparison is the thief of joy.
He encourages us to focus on our own journey, to celebrate our own successes, and to find joy in the process of becoming the best versions of ourselves. I love how he weaves together these seemingly disparate ideas: courage, vulnerability, gratitude, authenticity, into this cohesive tapestry that speaks to the human experience in a profound and inspiring way.
He challenges us to step outside of our comfort zones, to embrace uncertainty, to cultivate courage, to show up authentically, and to live a life that is full of, purpose and meaning.
And he does it in a way that feels both accessible and aspirational. He's not preaching from a pedestal. He's sharing his own journey, his own struggles and triumphs in a way that feels incredibly relatable and empowering.
He invites us to join him on this journey of self-discovery, this exploration of what it truly means to live a life without limits.
Right.
And he provides us with some really practical tools and strategies to get started.
I think what resonates most with me is his emphasis on the importance of taking action.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just, read about courage or to intellectualize these concepts.
Right.
We have to put them into practice.
Yeah.
We have to make the choice to show up with courage in our everyday lives. We have to put them into practice. We have to make the choice to show up with courage in our everyday lives.
Yeah. And you know what I find really interesting?
Yeah.
He connects this idea of personal growth to something bigger than just ourselves.
Yeah.
He talks about how our individual acts of courage can actually ripple outward and inspire others. That's such an important point. It's when we choose to live courageously, we're not just benefiting ourselves, we're also giving others permission to do the same.
Right. It's like creating a more courageous world, one small act at a time.
Exactly.
And I think it's a really beautiful and empowering thought.
It is. It reminds us that we have the power to make a difference, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of those around us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to everyone listening, we encourage you to check out Ajmal's work on his website, theborderfulmind.com.
Yes, definitely.
You'll find a wealth of insightful writing and stunning visuals that will inspire you to embrace a more limitless life.
And remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act in spite of it. So go out there and be courageous. The world needs your unique gifts and talents.
And until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep exploring the world with an open mind and a courageous heart.